Glory be to God. What's going on, everybody? The topic I wanted to talk about was rewards and treasures in heaven. And I'm excited. I want to jump right in because you got to think if we are striving and racing, you know what I mean, to make it to heaven, and we consider just making it to heaven a big reward, you know what I mean? Like that alone, we look at as a big deal. Um, I can't wait to see what, is actually the rewards that are waiting for me, in heaven. Whatever it is, I just I want a little taste, just a piece, Lord. Just a piece. You know. I don't know how you guys feel, but as far as I'm concerned, that's how I feel. Um, we have some people out there in the world that just think, metaphor is a metaphor and the reward is heaven. There's nothing of it. But I'm going to show you guys today in scripture that we could be actually storing up treasures and literal rewards for us in heaven. Now, I can't tell you exactly what every reward is going to be. I guess that's the mystery and the surprise we get to see when we get there. But, without any, longer delay, let's just hop right in and start with Matthew 6, 19-21. Okay. So it says, "Don't lay up yourself treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, thieves break in and steal. But lay up yourself treasures in heaven, where they won't destroy or steal." And then in Luke, it says, "Sell what you have and give alms. Provide yourself money bags, which do not grow old, and are treasures in heaven that does not fail. For where your treasures are, there will your heart also be." Okay. So we also have Luke 18:22. That kind of reiterates both what was being said in Matthew 6:19 and Luke 12:33 and 34. It's basically reiterating the same thing. And then we got Mark 10:21, where it's saying, "Then Jesus, looking at him, loved him, said to him, 'One thing you lack. Go your way, sell whatever you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, take up your cross and follow me.'" Now, a lot of people would say that that's kind of referring to making it to heaven. But that's not what it says here. It says, "Give to the poor and you will have treasure in heaven." That's something entirely different. See, come take up your cross and follow me. That's how you get to heaven. Following Jesus is how you get to heaven. But the giving to the poor part, that's how, you earn a reward. That's the reward you're getting. That's the treasure that you're getting by giving to the poor. That's a form of way that you could possibly, receive a reward. We have Matthew 6:3 and 4. "Let not your left hand know what your right hand is doing, that your charitable deed may be secret. And your Father, who sees in secret, himself will reward you openly." Now, you got to sit here and look at that for a minute and ask yourself a question. Because apparently you're getting a reward for praying in secret, just like you're getting a reward for giving in secret. Those are all rewards. He said he's going to reward you openly. And everybody says, yeah, you got a lot of, people that are preaching and a lot of different pastors that are going to say, if you give to the poor, or you tithe, or you give offerings, and you do this and you do that, you're going to get that reward back 100-fold. You'll get 10 times the amount, all these different things that they're telling you. But to me, that doesn't make any sense, because you got to think, if God is giving me a reward, and then Jesus is telling me that I'm going to go and give all my riches away, then how could the reward that God be giving me riches? That doesn't make any sense. It's almost like a hamster wheel, because then I'm just giving away the reward that God's giving me. So I'm getting rewards. I'm getting treasure. I'm giving money away. He's giving me money. I'm giving money away. He's giving me money. That doesn't even sound copacetic. It sounds like, to me, we still on this earth are looking into tangible things that you can hold, cars and nice houses. And, well, if I do this and I do that, God's going to bless me with this. He's going to bless me with that. For what? When it clearly says in Matthew that do not lay up treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and thieves break in and steal. So I'm confused. Shouldn't I be assuming that my rewards are going to be in heaven? That I shouldn't be worried about me giving when I'm giving to the poor, I shouldn't be saying, hey, I'm going to give them money because I'm going to get money back. It'll flow back to me. It comes around, goes around, and comes around thing. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, to me anyway, it doesn't make any sense. Other people have their own opinion on it, but to me, it makes no sense, because if I am listening to what Jesus is telling me, and he's telling me that I shouldn't be worried about these things on the earth, I should be worried about storing up treasures in heaven, then that means that I don't think he really cares to give me any of these things as a reward. So anyway, if you look at Matthew, he says, Matthew 25:21. Okay. It says, his Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You are faithful over a few things. I will make you a ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. So, doesn't that mean that we're going to have different levels, and we're going to be ruler or in charge over things. There's going to be people that are in charge in heaven. There's going to be people that are going to be not in charge in heaven. In James 3:1, it says, my brethren, let not many of you become teachers, knowing that we shall receive a stricter judgment. So, I mean, if you ask me, we could all agree on that the Lord is fair, right? We all believe that the Lord is fair and he's just. So, if we know that the Lord is fair, isn't it safe to assume that the equal and opposite to greater punishment would be greater reward? Isn't that safe to assume that if me as a preacher or someone else as a teacher or a preacher or whoever it may be is getting stricter judgment and he's held to a higher standard, so doesn't that mean once I make it with the being held under a higher standard, doesn't that mean that I get a greater reward for that? That's only fair. You see, these are just things that how I think, just the way I think when I hear the scripture. I think of things differently than a lot of people. Some people don't look at scripture like I look at scripture, and I just feel that we should all be striving for whatever the reward may be. Like I said, I don't care what it is. I just know if getting to heaven is a reward on its own, just getting to heaven is a reward, I can't wait to see what the reward inside of the reward is going to be. All right, so now if you look at Luke 14, 7 through 10, 7 through 11. Jesus is telling a parable. So he told a parable to those who were invited. When he noted how they chose the best places, saying to them, when you are invited by anyone to a wedding feast, do not sit down in the best place, lest one more honorable than you be invited by him, and he who invited you and him come and say to you, give this place to this man, and then you begin with the shame to take to the lowest place. But when you are invited, go and sit down in the lowest place, so that when he who invited you comes, he say to you, friend, go to a higher spot. Then you will have glory in the presence of those who sit at the table with you. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. So that right there lets you know that there's different levels of honor in heaven. Some people are going to be considered, for lack of a better word, I guess, a bigger deal than you or me or whoever it may be. There's going to be some people in there that are going to be considered, I guess, more valuable. And everybody's going to say, oh, no, but believe me, I thought the same thing. I said, well, when we get to heaven, we're all going to be equal, and everybody, no, we're not. Because he clearly says over here that in Matthew 25:21, he says, you were faithful over a few things, I will make you ruler over many things. So that's talking about the kingdom of heaven, ruler over many things. We're going to be ruler. You're going to be, for all we know, he'll give you a whole country to rule. We don't know. Nobody knows. But we do know he's telling you that there's a reward. It's clearly saying right here that some people he's going to call friend and some people he's not. I want to be his friend. I want to be called friend. I don't know what you guys want. And it's like I said when I was saying the thing, telling my wife this thing last night, and we were talking about it, and she said, yeah, that's what I want. And I said, yeah, you see, that's a reward. That alone itself is a reward. Him walking up to you and calling you friend, that shows you right there that he gonna love everybody, but not everybody's his friend. How many times in the Bible did Jesus call somebody a friend? Not often. We got it here. We got it at most of the disciples when he told them, I'm telling you everything that's the will of my Father and all of my Father's plans, because you guys are my friends, you're not my servants. So he doesn't call everybody. Everybody was not Jesus. He's not friends with everybody. He loves everybody, but he's not friends with everybody. So I feel like this was something that I wanted to share because it's something to strive for. You know what I mean? And everybody keeps saying, oh, well, I just want to make it, or, I just want to make it too. And I was, and it wasn't until it came to me that God put it in front of my face and told me, hey, man, we got rewards over here for you too. Because being obedient to him and doing what he asks you to do and having the faith is that's how you get it. Walking with Jesus, that's how you make it to heaven. See, but all these other things that he's asking you to do outside of that, which literally, coincidentally, will end up just leading to you making it, you following, you giving to the poor, you doing all these things, and you going to visit the sick or people in jail, or whatever it may be. You doing these things make it so that at any point in time, when you make it into heaven, those rewards are already sitting there. And you doing these things and saying, yeah, I'm going to keep doing these things because the Lord asked me to do them, and there's going to be a reward waiting for you. See, that's where the faith kicks in. See, because now you having faith that there's a reward waiting for you. Just like it says, wherever your treasure are is where your heart is. That's what it says. You get what I mean? So if in Luke 12, 33, 34, if that was said, then it's fair to say that he's offering you these rewards and treasures so he could get you to strive for that. I mean, that's just my belief on it anyway. I'm thanking you guys for being here with me for this, short session. I didn't want to make it too much longer. My last video was a little longer than this, so I'm just happy that I was able to, put this out for you guys. Give you guys something to think about, something to look forward to, and strive for. Once again, thank you for being here with me. I appreciate you. If you could like and subscribe, that would help. Just to at least get the message out there, some algorithm thing, so everybody can see it. I appreciate you. I love you. God bless. Take care.